Hello friends, Jef here and welcome to W.Britain Toy Soldier Company. In this second chapter about the campaign miniatures Sherman built, we're going to show you how to paint this bad boy. Now, if you're not really familiar or immediately familiar with campaign miniatures, I would strongly recommend or suggest to watch our first installment about the build. There we explain a little bit about the purpose of campaign miniature and what it's all about. We'll put the link in the description somehow here. But this is the moment in this second video. This is the moment I've really been waiting for, because we're going to paint. Now we're going to show this. We're going to show some simple tips and techniques that will work for everybody. Either you're an established or accomplished modeler, you're a collector, or you're just a novice that wants to get into the hobby. This will work for you. So let me arrange some stuff on my desk here, set everything up, and then we'll show you how to go about. So don't forget, please stay tuned, because I will be back for some final comments. So let's do this. So here is the M4A3 Sherman that you probably remember from our last video where we built the campaign miniatures. To paint the Sherman, I prefer to use Vallejo colors. Now, of course, you can use whatever you like. There are many other brands out there that are just as good, but I like Vallejo. It is advisable to prime your vehicle first, but for this purpose, I just going to use a base coat of dark green, and that's as good as a primer. So the first thing you do, if you want to create some shadowing or some weathering effect or some depth perception, it's always good to start with a dark color, in this case a dark green. The mixture I use here, I add some Vallejo thinner, but you can add distilled water or just tap water, is about 2/5 of thinner and 3/5 of paint. Also the pressure on my airbrush, I've been asked that a couple times. I usually go between 20 and 25 psi depending. When you apply the paint, it is advisable to do it in thin coats. You can do this a couple layers of thin coats. I rather prefer that than just try to cover the whole thing at once with a thicker layer. So if you apply 2 or 3 coats of a really heavily thin base coat, I think you have more control, and the result also is a lot better. The good thing is with this kit that you can pre-assemble it, as you can tell from the image here, that you keep everything separate, or at least a couple of major components. That's the beauty of campaign miniatures, that you can build the whole structure and keep all the sub-assemblies separate. Same thing here with the turret. Again, don't rush it, just use a thin coat to start, let it dry, and then do another layer. So if you do 2-3 layers, that should suffice. When you're airbrushing, make sure that you turn it around so you can airbrush out of different angles. A couple times it happened to me that I forgot to hold it in a certain angle, and then when I turned the thing around, there were areas that was unpainted. So always make sure that you take your time. As I mentioned before, this is the beauty again of campaign miniatures, especially around the tracks and the bogies, is that it's a sub-assembly, and it's so easy to paint those things without making a mess. Here is where we start misting. We apply a lighter color, in this case a lighter olive drab. Same scenario, we add about 2/5 of thinner to the paint, and then we we start misting. The advantage of misting is that you create some depth of colors or depth perception where you can easily create already some pre-shadowing. It's very easy, it's very rewarding, and again, try to stay away from the outer edges and start from the middle and work your way to the edges, but also don't cover everything. Just make sure that you stay a little bit around the detail, that you leave some dark corners or edges, and that will give you really a depth of colors, and that will eventually, when you do your weathering, it will help you a lot. You can already almost 50% taking care of your weathering process by just shadowing or pre-shading. Also something, do not rush, just take your time. Same thing with the turret. With pre-shading, you can really see the detail pop on your vehicle. It's very rewarding. Also, pre-shading, see the texture a lot better. Cupolas or turrets are always very rewarding in painting. That's the one item I look always forward to weathering and to paint, because there's a lot of detail concentrated in one place, and it's the eye catcher of your vehicle. And you can go as light as you want. To get more depth in your color, you can always add some lighter color. In this case, I added some tan to it. Look at pictures, look at reference material, just paint until you're happy. But I like to add a little tan and do the same thing again. Make some streaks left and right. It all will help you during your weathering process. To create some extra effect, especially on the side of the tank or on the turret, I always try to simulate some streaks like rain or weather elements. I always try to do some streaks where it looks like the rain dried up Like for instance here, I tried to simulate some of the weathering effects from the weather, sometimes splashes from the tracks. But you can do several things just to get some extra effect. You know, again, look at reference pictures. With painting a Sherman, you can almost, sky's the limit, you can almost do anything, especially when Shermans were used in the field. Just use your imagination. And here we are with one of the final things we need to do before the decals is applying some gloss varnish. Now you can use any varnish that you have laying around. Again, in this case I use the Vallejo one because that works the best for me. It's the Vallejo polyurethane varnish. So same thing, 2/5 of thinner and 3/5 of varnish. Now, I like to only do varnish or at least a gloss varnish where the decals are applied. So I look at my instruction sheet and I see where the decals are positioned, and that's the place or the area where I like to apply the varnish. Some people, they'd like to do the whole tank, and that's fine, but again, that is another layer that I really don't like to do. So for application of decals, I just apply the varnish only in the spots that they're being placed. So look at your instruction sheet and just apply it. Well, Campaign Miniatures comes, of course, with a big sheet of decals. You can do your own. You don't have to stick with the instruction sheet, but there's enough stars and numbers there that you can create your own version. I don't think I have to explain a lot about decals. There is enough information out there how to apply. So, but just make sure that when you apply the acrylic varnish that you let it dry at least for several hours, just to make sure that because of the application of water or the decal setting, that you don't wipe the varnish off. Now, the Campaign Miniature decals are really fantastic, and there is no issue whatsoever. It is, of course, advisable here also to use some decal setting or decal softener. In this case, I'm using the microsol. And since there are wet decals or wet transfers, the advantage of that is that you can position them, and once you put them on there, just take a wet brush and try to wipe away the excess softener, and then things will be fine. Again, you just have to pay attention a little bit, but it's not all that difficult. I'll show you one more time here with the star. It's also smart to not rush this. Take one decal at a time. Don't put several decals in the water, because sometimes you get impatient and you want to do a few all at once, but I learned out of experience that that's not a good idea. Do it one decal at a time. Take your time, and all will be well. Since we're going to do some heavy weathering on this vehicle in the next video, and because of the decals are glossy, we're going to put a coat of flat varnish on it. Same thing, I'm using the Vallejo polyurethane flat varnish because to me that works the best. Cover the whole tank, and you can add a pretty good layer on there, or a couple layers. If you're planning to do weathering or some extra work on your Sherman, Just to play it safe, I would advise to wait at least 24 hours until the varnish, or even longer, until the varnish is really rock hard. So here you have it, folks. Looks like a war-weary Sherman to me. Now it doesn't have to end here. You can always add some more fuel stains, oil stains, stowage, pastels. You can even cake the suspension on with mud. It all depends how you see it and where you want to take it. In one of the next follow-up videos, we'll put the Sherman in its own environment, in a diorama, and then complement it with figures. But for now, I just want to leave it like that. It was a very easy build, very pleasant to do. If you're looking for a quick build, if you're looking for something uncomplicated, then Campaign Miniatures is the kit for you. You can build this thing in practically under an hour and start painting. So I really enjoyed it. It was fun to do. But before I go, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Please follow us on Facebook, and most importantly, please check our website, our W.Britain, regularly for new updates, new arrivals, and all the good stuff. But for now, I'm going to leave it at that. Jef V here for W.Britain, signing off.